I have been obsessed recently with trying to improve Grow a Garden. This game is fantastic, but it has problems. And there are other games that are far more popular than it recently. So what I've done is yesterday I went live and I streamed Steal a Brainrot. I wanted to see what about that game I could enjoy and what about that game we could bring into Grow a Garden, not the Brainrot, it's just the gameplay. What could we bring into the game to improve Grow a Garden? If this sounds interesting to you, go ahead and hit that red subscribe button, become part of the first 300k OGs on the channel, especially if you want to save Grow a Garden. Let's get into the video. And the first thing I noticed that I really enjoyed about the gameplay of Steal a Brainrot was the conveyor belt system. This is what I'm talking about. All of their units come walking down that conveyor belt, and you get to sit there and watch them and look at them and pick all the interesting ones that you want to acquire. Imagine this in Grow a Garden. Imagine there was a way for a conveyor belt system for seeds. And going down the conveyor belt are all the different seeds you could buy, and you're waiting patiently or impatiently for the best seed that you want to buy. Now, something like this, just seeds on the ground, doesn't make sense. But I have an idea. I think it's time we upgrade our seed shop. We make our seed shop a little bit bigger and we make it a little bit better. Imagine, if you will, you walk into a shop and inside the shop is a wall on the back where all the wares are sold. And along the wall is actually a conveyor belt system, and it moves relatively slowly. And as it moves, new seeds come in. More often than not, it's going to be a common seed. More often than not, it's going to be a carrot. Now, maybe you don't need to have it as a building you walk in. Maybe you need to have a big building that's open to the air, a big stall that is open to the air. That way, if you're like, I don't know, this far away, you can still look over there and you can see the seeds that are going by on the conveyor belt. Now, maybe that doesn't work very well, because maybe you're sitting there waiting for the best seeds and you don't want to just sit here staring at the conveyor belt going over and over and over. You'd rather be in your garden, you'd rather be doing stuff, you don't want to be sitting here watching the seeds go by. I have another idea. In a previous video, I talked about a crazy concept, and this crazy concept is awesome. I spoke about notification systems, but this time I have a better notification concept that might be really cool. Imagine an audio cue. Imagine the shopkeeper who's standing there in front of the conveyor belt stall says something is in stock. He can say something like carrot in stock. You can get a voice actor to make this voice line. You could get Jandal to do the voice lines. I think that'd be kind of fun. But you could have him shout out whenever a specific seed is available on the conveyor belt. So if you want to, you can sit there and watch the conveyor belt go by, or you can go into your garden and wait for the shopkeeper to shout out that a certain seed is available in stock along the conveyor belt. And then the best part is you can go and talk to the shopkeeper, and in this menu have checkboxes, and you can check off what seeds you want him to shout out, right? You can check off this one, or you can check off this one. And every time one of those seeds come into stock, the shopkeeper will shout out to you and you alone that your seed is available on the conveyor belt, is available in stock. Now, let's say you don't want to do the conveyor belt system. I really do like the audio cue. It happened while I was streaming. I was waiting for Brainrot to spawn, and the one unit spawned, and it said the name of the unit, and I knew immediately that a rare unit had spawned. So I ran over excited to go and acquire it. Even if you don't do a conveyor belt system, having the shopkeeper or even the gear shopkeeper or the cosmetic keeper or the egg keeper, you can get different voice actors for different lines, and they can actually shout out to you verbally with a sound cue and maybe even a text across the screen when your selected thing is in stock. I think that's just a really neat way of doing it. That's better than just a simple ping, because previously I had mentioned in a previous video that you could put the ping system right here and have different pings for seeds and different pings for gears, but that's just not very fun. Now, where could you find voice talent? You can go to a website like Fiverr.com and you can hire a voice actor there to read out all these lines for you. And then let's say you've got multiple seeds selected. What do? Do you do just one call out? No, you do them all. As a programmer, you have a priority list from the least expensive all the way to the most expensive, and you can do checks to see which ones are checked off and then order them based off of their rarity, and then go through the verbal cues based off of the rarity, starting with a carrot, going down to a sugar apple, going down to a burning bud, etc. And then he can verbally shout out which ones are in stock that time. So you could do a conveyor belt, which is kind of cool. I think it's just cool because you can see the things going by and that's kind of entertaining. But the basic thing of the game is to be in your garden doing the gardening, so the conveyor belt may or may not work. However, the audio cues, when things are in stock, That's really cool. And you can change the stock time for every 5 minutes, every 1 minute, every 2 minutes, whatever you see fit, because at least at that point, people are being queued in. Well, I still kind of like the conveyor belt concept, because then you can rush to the shop and you can grab the seat off the conveyor belt as it goes by. I think it's cool. Just a fun idea. And just to avoid the confusion, what you could do is have the audio cues go off at the seed shop every 1 minute, and then a minute later you can have the gear shop restock, and then a minute later you can have the egg shop restock, and then a minute later you can have the cosmetic shop restock, and then a minute later you can have the event shop restock. There's 5 shops, 5 minutes, and they can be rotating that way. They don't all get notified all at once. You're not hit every 5 minutes with the notification from the gear shop and the event shop and all these shops at the same time. Just stagger them a bit. Now, while I was doing the admin abuse, something popped up that I did not like. Here's a piece of advice to take from the Steal a Brainrot community that they're complaining about, that even the developer has decided, yeah, this isn't working. And that is a system where once every time it occurs, or when the developer triggers it, a limited number of units are put into the shop, and it's first come, first serve. Do not do that system. It is not fun. It is not interesting. So what happened was I ran up to the guy and I talked to him, and imagine there was only 2,000 Orange Delights in stock. And all of a sudden, across the entire server, the entire game, and you had to spam click as fast as you could and buy it as fast as you could, praying that you were one of the lucky people to acquire it. And you never were, because of a simple thing: bots. Bots, black market, and auto clicker devices just bought up all the stock long before any real legitimate players could, and then they sold those units on the black market, and it ruined everything. Please do not do this. Developers, I will say this again, do not give us limited seeds, gear, or pets that are server wide, and there's a limited number, and when they're gone, they're gone. That system sucks. I experienced it firsthand in Steal a Brainrot, and I never, ever want to see you put that into Grow a Garden. It is a horrible system. Another thing that I learned while playing Steal a Brainrot, a mechanic that I really enjoyed, was rebirthing. I mean, rebirthing in that game is not too punishing, but rebirthing led me to a thing I did not expect. My base expanded. I went from a 1-level base to a 2-level base, allowing me to put more units in there for more currency. We need garden expansions in this game. You can put it into any system you want to put it into, but we need garden expansions. I almost want to see, I don't know how a multi-tiered garden would work in a game where your trees can grow that massive, but some kind of way of expanding our gardens I think is a great idea. What you could do, now that I think about it, if you don't want to go up, you can go back. You could have a bridge to your own island, and on your island is your garden. You could do that. You can expand it backwards. You can expand the map. You can expand lots of things about this game. But having my base expand, I think I saw people in Steal a Brainrot that had like 3 or 4 tiers of bases. That's really cool. I think we need ways to continue to expand our gardens above and beyond what we already have. Now, the next thing I learned while playing Steal a Brainrot, I was curious. I wanted to get into the game as a brand new player, and I want to get into the admin abuse as a brand new player. Now, many of you who are Steal a Brainrot veterans are thinking to yourself, Kro, that's a horrible idea. The lucky blocks, which are basically like random generated units in a chest or a box. It's a loot box, basically. The loot boxes in that game cost millions of dollars, and you're going to start out not having any money. Here's what happened when I learned about admin abuses for Steal a Brainrot, and it kind of has relevance for admin abuse in Grow a Garden. Admin abuse is too strong. It's way too strong. I played for 1 hour before the admin abuse, and in that time, I went from generating dollars per second to like thousands or 10,000s of dollars per second, maybe even $100,000 per second tops, right? But all of a sudden, the admin abuse occurred. And it wasn't even a big admin abuse, and the regular players of the admin abuse were complaining that it was an admin abuse. But for me, as a brand new player, I went from nothing to owning units that were giving me millions of dollars per second. It was absurd. I went from caring about every single Brainrot that was spawning down that runway to not caring at all about any of them. Now, I just realized the only time I want to play Steal a Brainrots now is during admin abuse, because anytime during regular gameplay, I'm never going to require down that runway anything of any value above and beyond what the admin abuse provided me. So to the Grow a Garden developers, be careful with your admin abuse. I mean, Grow a Garden has its own problem right now where the economy is so shot that nobody cares about shekels, which means nobody cares about plants. I'm going to make an entire video talking about that momentarily. But be careful with your admin abuse, because if you keep giving everybody all sorts of things during the admin abuse, during regular gameplay, they're not going to care about the things that come in the stock. For example, I can't remember the last time I cared about anything in the seed shop, personally, but I'm a veteran in the game. But a new player, brand new player who comes into an admin abuse and grabs a whole bunch of seeds from the seed shop might not care about what's in the seed shop after that. And that kind of makes them not want to play as much. Just one little factor. But those are all the things I learned playing Steal a Brainrot. And hopefully the developers can take some of these things and add them into Grow a Garden and make them a better game. If you agree with anything I mentioned in this video, or if you disagree, comment down below and let me know. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and hit subscribe. Become part of the first 300k OGs on the channel. And as always, guys, thank you very much for watching.